Okay, kids, what I'm going to do really quick is go over the basics of how an engine works for figure out how we're going to use these darn things in flight. Because if you're going to fly an airplane, you got to know how an engine works. And next time we watch a video, I'll actually do it on the airplane. But to start off, just on the basics of how motors work, I thought I'd use my kid's, he's making a chopper out of a 1978 Harley Davidson. Had to cut the frame and that's his whole project or whatever. Anyways, he's about halfway through with it. And while he's got it apart, it's a really good way of looking at how motors actually function. Now, this is a Harley Davidson. It's a V-twin. And what that means is it's got two pistons, okay? So what that means is that there are two little cylinders that slide, or pistons that slide up and down inside these things right here. These are the cylinders, okay? Those two things inside have a piston going up and down that runs a crankshaft inside this thing. And that crankshaft directly goes to a chain that spins the wheel. So it's all in line with each other. Now, the idea is that when one goes down, the other one goes up, okay? And when it goes up, let's say this one right here is going up, it compresses gas and oil, or gas and air that's mixed together in a high compression. And it's mixed together in this structure right here called a carburetor. So all these things are very, very, very similar to an aircraft. So it's sucked in here, compressed up, and once it gets to the top, this thing right here known as a spark plug, it fires and there's an explosion. It rams this one down and this one comes up and repeats the cycle. And the basic concept of this has not changed in 120 years. So Harley Davidson has the same basic motor structure. Well, actually, till I think the 1930s, they've used the same basic design. And it's really the same basic concept as an aircraft engine, because you can see, how do you think it's cooled? These are cooled by these fins right here. The only way this thing actually gets cooled off is air rushing past when you go down the road. If you're in an airplane, they would have these things and air would be forced past and making the air cool the engine that way. Now, in aircraft, they're not going to have a V-twin, a V structure like that right there. They're going to have either a flat structure, like where they're all laying flat down, opposing each other, going back and forth, or they got the classics, the original ones, the Charles Lindbergh type, or what they call a radial. So they'd have 1, 2, and then they'd have 3, 4. They'd go around in a circle, and the propeller would be sticking either on this side or that side. But the whole concept is that they do the same basic principle, is that they all go up and down using air to cool them with all these fins right here. And why air? Well, how heavy is water? Water is roughly about 8 pounds per gallon. There's no water on this thing. It's much, much lighter. And so that was the whole concept behind Harley Davidson too. So anyway, that's kind of the basics of how a motor works. So you've got right here this cylinder. Inside is the piston. You got a spark plug. And on inside of here, you can hear the other side. Inside of here is where there's the crankshaft. Crankshaft spins around and drives this gear right here to run that gear back there. On an airplane, the gear would be gone and the propeller would be right here going around in a circle. Okay? All right, basic concept. Engines are really all the same, but you got to know how that works. And we'll talk more details when we actually look at the airplane.